Right, we are back with the Speakmans. They've had a load of calls for you this morning, but before we get to the phones, you do have an update for us. This is all very exciting news, right?
We do. So the last time we were on the show doing a phobia phone-in, Caroline called in because, and we were actually with you, Rochelle,
Yes.
Caroline called in because she had been unable to get on an aeroplane for the last 30 years after having had a panic attack. And then we got a little update from her.
Oh, OK. Well, there she is.
Look.
It is.
There we go.
She
That's what we
appears
like
to be on an
see.
airplane.
She certainly is.
Brilliant stuff.
I believe she is, and I believe she's got 2 more holidays booked.
Oh,
so
good.
she kept us updated. She messaged and said that she was on an aeroplane and she was having an amazing time. Yeah, and then she's booked 2 more holidays since, I believe.
That's
so
what
that's
we like to
lovely.
see. Well done, you two.
Well done.
Yeah,
Well done.
we're
That's
thrilled.
brilliant.
Good on you.
Well, you want to do some more?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we
Okay.
do.
Let's do it. We have Caroline. Hi, Caroline.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Well, I've not spoke to you since you were here last time and you were telling us about the flying.
This is Caroline.
This is Caroline now.
No way.
Guys,
cool.
it's the same Caroline.
Oh, that's amazing.
It is the same Caroline.
Tell us everything, because obviously flying was such a big deal for you last time. The
It was,
Speakmans did their thing, and you've been away. Tell us.
Yes. And 30 years it took me, and then a week before I was going to fly, I was panicking like mad, and then Speakmans came on, and I thought, I'm going to give them a ring. And I got through to just to reassure me of how I was feeling, because mine was like being locked in, thinking there was no air on the plane, like the door locked, and I couldn't bear to even consider even ever going on holiday. And I did it, and I made up myself, went to Mallorca, had a beautiful time, and I had overwhelming feeling when I got on the plane that I'd never done it earlier. I'm so sorry I wasted 30 years of not getting on an airplane.
Wow.
And all the fun I've had, and it's just been a waste, like just knocking my sons back going, I'm not going with you, and just dismissing it when I could have been doing all this for the last 30 years. So if anyone...
Success
It is.
story.
But you know what?
Going to make up for lost
Yeah,
time now.
and Caroline, exactly that. You can make up for lost time now, so go, have fun, you're free to fly, and we're so thrilled that you called the show and that we were able to help, so well done you.
Caroline, very quickly, in a very 10 seconds, advice to anyone out there who felt like you did until you got over this phobia. What would you...
Just do it. Don't let nothing hold you back. Just do it. It's the best feeling in the world once you've done it. Now I'm not frightened of any flights whatsoever. 12 hours, 24 hours, I'm going.
Well, there we go. She's off. There we go. She's got holidays booked for the rest of the year. Caroline, it's so nice to speak to this version of you.
Yes.
Well done.
I know.
So,
I was
so
anxious
brilliant.
last time I spoke because of my nerves about flying, but it's gone now.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, you sound full of
Thank you.
beans. That's
Well
what we
done.
like to hear. Thank you, Caroline.
We're going to go to books now. Naomi is on the line. Good morning, Naomi. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good. How can the Speakmans help you this morning?
Yeah, so I have had a phobia of vomiting or seeing anyone else be sick, which I've had for as long as I can remember. So my earliest memory was probably at the age of about 13 when I felt sick in the back of my dad's car and didn't feel comfortable in voicing how I felt.
Yeah, and have you had help for this, Naomi?
Yeah, I've had all the treatments I can think of, sort of CBT, hypnosis, tapping, counselling, but nothing has worked. It's almost as though I am hanging on to the phobia because I feel safe.
Yes.
So if I get rid of it, how am I going to feel? If that makes sense?
Absolutely. It completely makes sense. And when you do have a fear, that's exactly what happens. You try and tell yourself why you need to stay protected. So the phobia you have, vomit, is incredibly common. A phobia of sick is called emetophobia. So it is incredibly common, and please know that you absolutely can get over it. However, the difference with emetophobia is that it's a complex phobia, and so there are a lot of behaviours associated with it, such as avoiding certain foods and overwashing so that you don't contaminate, etc. So when you're born, you're not born with a phobia of sick. So if you imagine it's like scales, and if this is the negative side of the scales and this is positive, then if you've had negative experiences, so you have a neutral view, and then if you've had anything that's negative, it places on that side and makes the side of fear heavier. So the trick is, if you don't know the start of it, then the trick is to actually counteract it by contra-evidence. So the first thing I would like you to appreciate is that therapy does work. So I would really encourage you to keep trying with therapy, because no two therapists will deliver the therapy in exactly the same way. So it's and some are more experienced with emetophobia and some aren't. So please don't give up. Do keep trying with different therapies. The other thing that I'd just like to mention is that it's likely that if you had travel sickness, that puts you on high alert. And so what you now have to consider is opposite things. So things such as when you feel fearful, asking yourself, right, okay, have I actually been sick? So you're looking to put positives. And when you, if you've ever been sick in your life, I think, and you felt better, or somebody else has, again, putting that on this side. So you're actually looking to look for positive evidence to try and balance it out. Now, I know that that's tough, which is why therapy can really help. Finding the origin can really help as well to challenge that. And that'll help you then to move forward.
But also going back to when you said this started, the thought of being sick in your dad's car, and, was it actually being sick, or the thought of, if I'm sick in the car, there's going to be a clean-up operation, I might get told off. Is it that could have caused it?
Yeah, it's interesting how it's sort of the first recognisable thought or memory. So yeah, it sounds probable. What's sort of quite interesting is that the fear of, I sort of carry tools around with me, so I have a carrier bag, I have anti-sickness tablets with me. So it's that feeling of letting all those tools go that I've had for the last 50-odd years. You can't imagine how it would feel without them.
Yeah, and the thing is, Caroline, again, what you're doing is you're adding more evidence onto why, by having all these tools, you're saying, oh, I need these because, so you're adding more on the negative. So what you actually need to do is go out, even if it's just 15 minutes, without the bag, without the tablets, and going, and this is what I mean by the positive, I've been out, and actually I'm okay. Do a survey of the people that you know. Okay, they've not been sick. And that's what I mean by the positive evidence, because you're literally looking...
That's a great idea,
to sort of balance it out.
Yeah. I suppose it's how many times have you actually needed those tools?
Exactly. That's exactly that. That's the positive evidence that we're referring to.
Well, I do hope that helps you. We're going to go to Gavin now, who would like to ask a question. You've got a real phobia of fish, haven't you, Gavin?
Yes, I have. I've got a phobia of fish. I've had it for a number of years. From a child, and I've now got a 3-year-old son who I know will want to go into sea life centres and aquariums, and I don't feel I can go in there with him, unfortunately, and I want to.
So, Gavin, let's get straight to it. Have you any idea when this may have started?
Yeah, I mean, I took on a little fishing trip with my dad's friend when I was a child, and I caught a fish, which I thought was amazing, and then when he asked me to take the fish off the hook, I was like, no, I'm not touching that slimy, scaly thing.
Okay,
it was like, no.
Right, so I think you're probably right with that, because let me ask you 2 questions just to confirm it. Did you ever win a goldfish at a fair or something like that and have fish in the house?
Yes, I've won them.
And you're okay with that?
Yeah, they were in the house every now and again, and then we had one now and then.
Okay, so you've been okay with fish, and then obviously the fact that you got invited on the fishing trip and you agreed to go also tells me that you didn't have an issue with fish then. So this has started at that time when you caught the fish and you were told that you should take the hook out of that fish's mouth, and you didn't know what to do. Obviously, it's a distressing thing, seeing a fish with a hook in its mouth. And in that situation, what you've done, because you felt uncomfortable about the whole thing, your brain has gone into overdrive to protect you from that situation. And what you've done, you blame the one thing that you can see, which is the fish. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But what I want to ask you is, that day you felt traumatised, but what actually caused that trauma? It wasn't the fish, was it?
No, it's probably myself.
I would actually switch the blame to the person who asked you to take the hook out of the fish, if you think about it. So in looking at it from an adult's perspective and not a child's perspective, as an adult, if you're going to have a phobia to anything, it will be the person who asked you to take that hook out of that fish. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, yeah.
So I'm now going to ask you, what have fish ever done to you?
Nothing yet.
Right, no. Say that again without the yet at the end. Fish haven't done anything to you. Fish never did anything to you, but you're placed in that situation by an adult who perhaps shouldn't have put you in that situation, and that's what's caused this. And I just want you to think about that different way of thinking, and if you think about that, it should totally change the outcome of this, and you shouldn't be frightened of fish anymore.
Yeah, as well as appreciating that the fish was actually the victim, and to some extent so were you, because you were made to feel incredibly uncomfortable as a little boy in that scenario, and it was actually that caused the fear, not the fish itself.
The power of things that happen in our childhoods, right?
Yeah, it's just retraining your thought process.
It's changing perspective, really. It's been able to see it for what it is and not what you thought when you were
As a child.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gavin. I hope that helps you out.
Gavin.
We don't have time to go
Much.
to Nick, but Nick has a similar thing with butterflies from an episode of Star Trek he saw when he was a kid. I'm guessing the same kind of advice.
Very, very
might
similar,
help Nick
because,
as well,
I mean, again, even more so, because, Nick, obviously, you saw something on TV in Star Trek that wasn't real. You know, so even though it was something that looked like a butterfly, it wasn't a butterfly, and you've never been attacked by a butterfly in the UK.
So butterflies are beautiful, and they're past people coming back to say hello to us.
There
That's
we
my
go.
That's
theory.
nice.
So keep them
That's
in.
nice.
That's what I think.